Oh my God, I'm such a dummy. Guys, I'm such a dummy. Oh my God, I'm here. I'm here. It's day 8. Are we in day 8? Are we day 9? Who knows what day it is? Is it Saturday? Is it Friday? I don't know where I am. Oh my God, hold on. I gotta go back and tell them that I was wrong. Oh Jesus. Day 9. Oh my God. Oh my, this is awful. Such a dummy. Okay, don't be too hard on yourself, Mel. We're all getting in here. Jesus. Oh my God. Okay, I'm gonna wait for a couple of minutes for everybody to get in. Day 9 is actually happening today. That's why it's confusing. The reason why I did it this way is because I wanted to watch the day before to make sure that I could be ahead of anything that might come up in the trial that would be traumatic or scary for anyone else. So I'm trying to stay ahead of that. That's why we're a day behind in the live trial. That's why we're on day 8, not day 9. So sorry. I really feel like I still need to. Oh, God, hold on. I just want to make sure everybody's okay and that they're in the right place. This is so dumb. Okay, I'm going to take the StreamYard one off. I think I did already. Jesus. You guys, this is why it looks like we're being shadow banned, because I'm a dummy. Let me take day 9 out of here. That one, we're just going to delete it because it doesn't even exist anymore. It's not even real. It didn't happen. Delete forever. I'm deleting it forever. Okay. Jesus. Hopefully everybody can switch over. We got like 44 people in here. That means I didn't even get to address all the other comments that were in the other one. But if you were over there, come over here and join. Hey, Amanda. So glad you're here. Everyone, thank Amanda for doing our chapters for us. We couldn't do it without her. I'm glad you're here. Thank you. If you're just coming in, please don't forget to hit the like button. Even if you did it on the other one, try to do it again. Because my fault. I don't even have words. Maybe I should drink more coffee. Okay, we're going to move on from this because I don't want to stress out about it. And I'm feeling anxiety seeping into my body, and I don't want that to happen. Are we there yet? Yes, we're here. This is day 8. We're here. It's too early and too hot for this, Mel. I know. Sorry, D Cools. I'm so sorry. Mel, am I the problem? Is it me? Am I the drama? Exactly. It's usually me. It's usually me. Um, Thank you to those who gave us the heads up. Yeah, thanks for letting me know. I would have kept going and wouldn't have even realized it, and everybody would have been stuck over there in purgatory. And now we're here. Okay, and that video is gone. So we're on day 8. Jesus Christ. Am I Turtle Boy? Is that what's happening here? And that was definitely a menopause moment. I'm not even going to blame it on the heat. That was all 100% menopause. Ma'am, this is a Wendy's. Why are we talking about menopause? Despite the look on my face, said, I'm so glad I got out of bed early so I could watch this live. Sorry. Is it Monday already? No. Rebecca will be back. She'll get a handle on this shit. Listen, since Rebecca's gone, I've done 10 streams, you guys. I've covered the Lindsay Clancy trial every single day. I've had a couple of extra members only streams yesterday. I mean, I am making excuses. I was about to say I'm not making excuses, but, and you know that everything that comes after a but is either a lie or an FU. I'm really trying not to swear. I have so much going on in my brain. Basically yesterday I was on in the early afternoon, and then I came back on at 4:30 to do a pre-game to go over to do my show with Maggie Freeling and Greg Stoker on their Hope This Finds You Well show. And so I had my audience here 4:30. We redirected. We all went over there. I was on with them until 7. I had like an hour and a half or so break to grab something to eat, and then I was on again last night with Sarah and Mari over at Crime Scene, reviewing the new um, Idaho murders documentary on Netflix by Sky Borgman. I didn't get to bed until almost midnight because, I'm amped when I do these things. And then so after I have to come down, and then I jumped up this morning and made sure that I had all my notes correct for yesterday's case. And now here we are. So I'm tired. I'm sorry. It's menopause and sleepiness and heat and all the things. Okay. I'm going to stop saying sorry though, because I'm done. I've said I'm sorry. Here we are. Thank you for doing the thumbs up again. Please, everybody that's coming in, please like the video so that we can get this algorithm going. It's a slow, weird algorithm right now. And we're really trying to figure out what's going on. Is it because I say the F word too much? Is it because I say the C word too much? Is it because we're talking about a very violent, horrific trial and everyone hates it? Is it because I'm by myself? But then again, it's other YouTubers are sort of experiencing some of the same things. So I don't feel too bad, but it's kind of like it's weird right now on the tubes. Okay. Thanks for recapping. I had to nope out of watching the live. Tough case. Yeah, I wouldn't recommend watching this case live. They go through too many details, and there are too many witnesses for the prosecution who are just saying all the same things, all the gory details. We are not here. I mean, I don't want to sound callous, but this case is not about the unaliving of the 3 kids as much as it is about whether Lindsay Clancy was sane when that act happened. She's already admitted to it. She was happy to go right to the sentencing phase. But they wanted to have a trial. They brought these charges. And yesterday we saw some word effing salad from the prosecutors about the fake suicide narrative that they keep trying to sell. And the judge kind of called them out on it. And I was really happy about that. We're going to get to it. It was basically a motions hearing, a procedural hearing that happened at the end of the day. But it was one of the most fascinating parts of the day because the prosecution was getting called out on all the things that we're calling them out on. And they were being called out on that by the defense and the judge. So I feel like we're on the right side of this thing, but who knows? One thing I will address that's driving me nuts is God, I have a frog in my throat. The TikTok conspiracy crew has gone into overdrive on this case. I'm sure you all have heard this, that there are a bunch of people on TikTok who are they've come up with the conspiracy theory that Patrick, the father of these 3 children, actually is the one who did this and is trying to frame Lindsay. I want you to sit with that for a minute and feel the ridiculousness of it. This claim started over the confusion about the DNA evidence that we went over yesterday on the exercise bands. And I'm not going to go into detail about it, but I'll say this. DNA can be very confusing to lay people and a jury. It confuses me sometimes, but here are the facts of the matter. There were 5 people who lived in that house, 3 children, 2 adults. Those 2 adults are the parents of those 3 children, which means those 3 children share 50-50 DNA with mom and dad, Patrick and Lindsay. When forensics was going over the exercise bands, which we know to be the murder weapons, they found a mixture of all 5 people's DNA. And because of that, the TikTok community is going wild with this theory that Lindsay's DNA was not on the exercise bands. And that is just not true. I can't go into detail because it's too much of a visual. Lindsay Clancy's DNA was on the exercise band. So was Patrick's. So was all 3 of the children. He has not been eliminated from that. I have not looked into the fact that he may have changed his shoes while he was out. But guys, we have his cell phone data. We may not have gone over it yet in the trial, but they know his movements. They also know that Lindsay called in an order for pickup. We also know that Lindsay mapped out the route for pickup. We also know that Patrick was at CVS on surveillance camera. So he couldn't have done this while he was out picking up dinner and going to CVS. And it's just ludicrous that we're doing this again. It's almost like we, in the true crime community, I mean, I think a lot of it has to do with distrust of police, and I get that. I totally get that. I feel that way too. I don't trust all the judges. I don't trust all police officers. I don't trust all investigators, and I don't trust all prosecutors. I also don't trust all defense attorneys. But the defense attorneys are usually just there to make sure that their clients' constitutional rights are not violated, and that I hold above all. But I think what we're doing here is we're looking at such a heinous crime. We have a really difficult time believing that Lindsay could have done this. And the reason we have a hard time believing that Lindsay could have done this is because she was experiencing psychosis when she did it. So understanding that, hearing from all the doctors, looking at the medical evidence, hearing from Patrick, hearing from their friends, their family, the nanny, everybody, it is unfathomable what happened, but it happened, and Lindsay has taken responsibility for what happened. So can we please stop doing this? It muddies the waters. It also puts Patrick in the crosshairs of crazy people who might come after him, who think this is true. Like, think back to the Kohlberger case with that psychic that was on TikTok and who was claiming that a professor at the university did this. She was sued for defamation, and I believe the professor won. But it causes people to dox and send death threats and swat people and do things like that. I don't want to see any further damage happen to this family. So please, this is all I'm going to say about it. Please don't give in to those conspiracy theories. Look at the facts of this case and make your decision from there. Okay. Christine says, I truly appreciate the way you've been covering this trial. I don't think I'd be able to follow it because it hits too close to home, but because of you, I can. Thank you. I'm glad you're here. I'm glad that I'm covering it in a way that allows you to think about the law and our justice system and how these cases work, as well as women's health and awareness of postpartum depression and psychosis. I appreciate that you're here and that you're able to listen and watch because of the way that we're covering it. I know this is why people aren't watching. We're all confused about what day it is. I totally understand. Nobody tell Rebecca. Okay. Oh no, Teacup said the most brilliant comment I ever made was over in that chat. Why? Make it here. You can make it again. I'm not going over the medical examiner testimony, just so everybody knows. That is the first witness up today, and I'm not even touching it, just so you know. Let me make sure I have it up here. Yeah, the medical examiner comes up first. We're skipping right over it. We know what she's going to say. There's literally no need. There's no need. They've even stipulated to it. I don't understand why we're seeing these string of witnesses. I'll keep saying it. I know I'm being repetitive, but someone in the chat said, I'm wearing a bow today in honor of multiple people, but it is green, so no gendering here. Emily said, it's the perimenopause brain fog. At least that's what I blame when I do stuff like that. No, it's true. It's true. The brain fog is real. It is so real. Yes, I have more from my blooper reel now. Mel, you have so many things going on. This is from Should Have Come With a Warning. Mel, you have so many things going on and wonderful streams for us to consume. It's no wonder you got them mixed up. It's no big deal. Please don't stress. I'm trying not to. I think I'm over it. I'm over it. Amanda says, Mel, I'm starting a GLP-1 for the first time today, taking a cue from you not to do it all four at the same time. Be aware, depending on how your body adjusts to it, there may be some very much stomach upset. So just be aware of that and go easy on yourself and get rest and stay hydrated. That's what I'll say. Mel, you're amazing. 10 streams. I wasn't saying that so you guys would think I was amazing. I was saying that because I may make mistakes because I'm tired. Jen McCabe accidentally cursed you because she has no clue what she's doing with voodoo dolls. Oh, Do you think that's what happened, Aaron? That could be. That could be. Yeah, Turtle Boy Technology Derangement Syndrome. Exactly. TTDS. Uh, okay. Maggie and Greg are fascinating, aren't they? They're such a funny couple. Um, Maggie is so much like, God, you're so lucky you don't live with a man. And I'm like, hey, you know what? You're bisexual. And you know, this is what you're doing right now. So Greg's an amazing guy though. I hope he wins. How amazing would it be for Maggie friggin' Freeling to be a congressman's partner and in DC? First of all, I get to see her, which would be great. She'd be right nearby. But they're such a funny couple, and they are so like everybody in the chat, not everybody, a lot of people in the chat get upset when I even get close to talking about politics here. Greg is like the farthest left person you could ever find. And even I'm like, whoa, Greg, slow down, brother. Like, you guys should go watch it. I posted it on the YouTube page as a post with a link to the show from last night. It was a little bit of a shit show in the beginning, but we got it under control and we talked about some interesting cases, which you all know about. We talked about Pam Smart, of course, and Veronica Rodriguez's case because Greg comes from a military background, an extensive military background. Um, so that was interesting to talk about Veronica's case through the military lens. And then we also went over the Proctor, Sean Good, horrible messages because there's a new case in LA, which I mentioned yesterday on the show. The LAPD is, well, Los Angeles is bringing charges against an LA police officer who recorded his coworkers in the recruitment unit saying a lot of the same things as we understand it that Michael Proctor and Sean Good said in their messages. And when he brought those recordings, I think there were 80 of them, he brought 80 recordings to his supervisors and was like, these guys are recruiting people to become police officers and women, I suppose. And they are incredibly racist, incredibly homophobic, misogynist, violent sounding beings. We need to hold them accountable. And instead of holding those people accountable for saying all those racist and homophobic things, the LA is charging this police officer with felony wiretap. So it's a perfect cross between Karen Reed and Veronica Rodriguez for me. If you know, you know. But go watch the stream; it's interesting. We had a good time. We laughed a lot, even though we were talking about crazy shit. Am I the stalker because I tracked you here? No, I asked you to come. So I'm glad you came. I didn't get redirected and couldn't find the stream. That is so weird because it's weird that you say that, Joy, because the audience was overwhelmingly from my pregame show. So there were like 50 or so people in there that were from our audience. And they got redirected. That's really strange. I wonder if it's something in your settings. I'm usually the problem, but I'm being like, check your settings. I don't know. But the stream is up if you want to rewatch, if you want to be on the replay crew. Okay. I take naps. Don't worry about me. I'm a big proponent of naps. I am burning the candle at both ends, but I do get the sleep that I need. So I appreciate you saying that. Let's see. There's an eclipse next week. Things are weird. I love eclipses. Eclipse eye. I think D Cool says, I think it's because you said inside human juice so many times on Wednesday. I'm like, what words? What words am I allowed to say? Am I allowed to say blood? Am I allowed to say, like, I'm so scared to say the GUN word that because I don't want us to get demonetized, but I'm being told that it's mostly the F word, I guess. I don't know. This is so crazy. Like, this reminds me of TikTok when we had to say Ladala Bean because saying the word lesbian would get you shadow banned, basically. So I don't know what I can say. I wish that YouTube would just put out a list of all the words we're not allowed to use. Maybe they have. Maybe I haven't seen it. If you guys know about it, let me know so I can have a list in the pod to look at so I don't say the wrong words. Morning, Rob. Glad you're here. Let's see. They want her to be an absolute monster, Amanda said. Yes, I agree. Miss Blue says, I love you, Mel. I can't watch the trial or the recap. It is the first time I have ever felt like this. It isn't you. Okay, good to know. Thanks for letting me know. I know, Teacup. We're gonna watch it again today for those of you who haven't seen it. But Teacup says I've rewatched the end of the day a few times now. I couldn't believe the prosecution. There's this one video. I need to find it when we actually watch the hearing at the end here. Um, that is basically like, wait, but you've been saying this whole time that she faked it. Now you're just saying that she didn't use the right tools to do it. What the hell are these guys saying? They don't even know. They don't even know what they're doing. Mima said, I'm so ashamed of the Commonwealth that I reside. There are other cases needing to be done. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, this is what the prosecution is basically saying. We'll hear about this in the hearing, but Teacup says, we're not saying it was a legitimate attempt. We're saying she did a bad job at finishing the job. Let's see. Leave Patrick alone. My 33-year-old daughter asks me about him. Yeah, leave Patrick alone. Leave him out of this. I know. You know how many people, Melanie Fox says, my stepson texted me last night for the real details, and I had to correct all that nonsense for him. I have been getting so many text messages just being like, what about this? And what about this? And I'm like, you guys, stop this. Like, you have to go and look at the evidence. You have to go and listen to the trial and listen to these witnesses. Yeah. The DNA of the people who live in the house had DNA in the house, D Cool says. Exactly. It's so ridiculous. Let's see. Wow, they're really stretching. Okay, I'm not gonna give that any more thought. Shaza, thanks for being here. Sorry you had to jump out. I understand though. Is the TikTok psychic the weird professor who did the Idaho 4 involved in the Patrick thing, or are people copying her for fame and clicks? I think people are just looking for any excuse to not say that Lindsay Clancy did this because it's hard to believe. I get that, but it's not true. The professor technically won that case, but the damage is already done, unfortunately, the other Emily said. Yeah, and that's what I'm worried about here, too. Let's see. I could not watch the testimony yesterday. We're going to skip through some of it. There were a lot of witnesses yesterday. It was a very full day. Christina, Mel, don't tell Rebecca, us. Mom, look what other mom did. You can tell her. I'm sure she's watching also. She's sitting on the beach. She's absorbing some content. She's just not engaging. Blame it on Jen. No, I don't want to blame it on Jen. Somebody got me a Keurig for a reason. That is the truth, and I'm using that Keurig. That Keurig is getting in some work this week. I know. I really want to go back to Newslight. I know. Amanda, you and I have talked about this a few times. I have a list though. I've made a list. I've got show ideas for other shows. And there are a couple of things on here that I would really like to do. I'd love to get back to Newslight. I'd love to do the recap show with Jimmy about Drag Race. That would be so much fun. I'd love to do a retrial show, which I started to do with the Edric Foss case. Because there's Karen Reed, there's Casey Anthony, which I really want to do. There's Pamela Smart. I could do all of those retrials. And then just some like regular hangouts on Saturday mornings or something like that. So I have ideas for other shows. I just don't have the bandwidth right now. I would love to do the show with Jimmy because it would be so much fun. And it would be like dessert after the dinner of all the true crime, you know? It would be so much fun. But yeah, I just don't. I mean, the politics show is also heavy, and my brain is going to explode with all the chaos that's happening in our world right now. So it's there. I still have the YouTube channel. I also have, did you just hit the side of the pod? Oh, I was like, everything in here is shaking. I'm going to get fired. Oh, okay. I love you. Say hi to the audience. Hi. She's going to get the other kid. Love you. Bye, Linz. Love you. Um, yes, we can talk about Diller from the hearing that happened yesterday. He was also a shit show. I'm going to wait to talk about that with Rebecca, though, because I think that we need to have a conversation about that. Okay, let's see. Rob, this is in reference to Maggie being a congressperson's partner. Rob says, I want to see her dressed up for Beltway events, however she defines dressing up. Me too. Maggie is covered in tattoos and piercings, and she's gorgeous. I mean, you guys all saw her. But she does not fit into the Beltway culture, and I really, really, really hope she gets to be in DC. I really hope so. Is he Green Party? Is Greg Green Party? I didn't think Greg was Green Party. Hold on, let me see. Greg Stoker Party. Let's see. He is Green Party. You're right. Yeah, I mean, I think he has an outside chance. But the thing that the guy has going for him in Texas, especially, is that he did 4 tours. I think he was Special Forces. Don't quote me on that. He has an extensive military career. He also was on the flotilla that went to Israel to bring, that went to Palestine to bring aid to the Palestinians. He was arrested by Israel, by the IDF, and he suffered in their prisons along with, oh God, I can't think of her name right now. She's not a kid anymore. She's an adult, but God, what's her name? The woman who was tortured by the IDF. Why can't I think of her name? Greta Thunberg. He was on the flotilla with her. So he has that, those politics may hurt him in Texas, but some of his other politics really align with a lot of Texans. So I don't know. It's going to be tough for him, but we'll see what happens. Is there no other crime in LA? I know, right? This is a great question, Emily. Aren't there any whistleblower protections? Apparently not in the LAPD. I mean, they've been dealing with this racism problem and homophobia problem and misogyny problem for decades now. I mean, we became aware of it first with Rodney King and the Rodney King trial and case and the LA riots, and then the OJ trial when Furman pleaded the fifth because he would have incriminated himself for what he said on those tapes about N-words when he was a cop. And now we've got Michael Proctor and Sean Good. And it's just, the culture isn't changing. Like, something needs to be done about the culture of law enforcement in this country. We're seeing it on both coasts. Both and to be fair, this isn't something that I would expect to happen in a place that's liberal, like a blue state, but Massachusetts and California, well, California is sort of a purple state, but LA County is a blue county and Massachusetts is a blue state. And so the blue folks should be doing something about this. Should they not? It's awful. I don't know why he's not considered a whistleblower, but I know that they are charging him with wiretap and he could get a felony for it the same way that Veronica did. Let's see. Oh, I need this word list. Simna, if anybody knows where the word list is that was compiled by creators, please let me know where it is so I can post it in my pod and look at it when I need to say the F word. Okay. Interesting. So here's the interesting thing. The other Emily says, as far as I know, they really don't like the pew pew word. The Glare got a stream struck because someone in his chat used that word. Although if you're categorized as news, I think you can use it. We are categorized as news. Interesting. I want to know more. I just wish they would put out exact guidelines so that we can adhere to those guidelines, you know? Um, let's see. Okay. Science and Sass says Googling language that will get you a YouTube stream demonetized seems to yield helpful results. Do you want to send that over to me? I haven't had time. Something's off pod at Gmail if you want to email it to me. Thank you. Okay. Let's look at the chat here. It's so clear to me anyway what happened here, Mima says. Oh, no, sorry. Melanie Fox says. And it's opening my eyes to know to how many people don't understand mental health. Yeah. I mean, I think we've been seeing that with the culture of school shootings, for decades now, that people don't understand mental health at all. Uh, I know you are absolutely the best, but I cannot fathom not paying you for that work. You know that, right? Like I can't fathom. Amanda wants to help with Newslight, and I just can't fathom taking that help without being able to pay you. So when we get there, we can talk about it. But also, I don't know if I have the bandwidth for politics. It's a periphery thing for me right now. I'm trying to. It's sort of like the people who can't watch this trial. I'm trying to protect myself a little bit from politics because what I'm seeing is so effed up that I don't even know how to approach it anymore. There's so much corruption and so much chaos going on that it's like, what do you choose to talk about? Unadulterated queer joy is exactly what the world needs right now, Lady Harlot says. I couldn't agree more, but I've been saying that for decades. Okay. There goes my stomach growling. Congress wouldn't know what to do with her tattoos. I know. I can't wait. I hope it happens. All right. Greta Thunberg. Yeah, I got it. Kim said, Mel, I just wanted to let you know that I love you. I love your show and you. Thank you. That's so sweet. Sometimes I need to hear it. I'm not going to lie, because I'm like, I wouldn't say that I'm insecure, but I would say that I have anxiety that I'm doing something wrong. You know what I mean? Does anybody else feel that way? And that's probably because of my, you know, uh, my borderline mother who is no longer with us. But because of that, I always am in this perpetual state of, are you mad at me? Did I do something wrong? What can I do to fix this? What can I do to change? Like that kind of thing. So, oh, Kim said, I watched your show about Pam Smart. I cried. So proud of you. Oh, I cried too. I didn't mean to, but um, thank you. Thank you for watching it. Spread the word if you can. I think it's important with a younger generation that's more online starting to understand this case and to see the issues with it. And that's what my whole goal has been, is to get away from an older crowd who only can see this woman as she was, printed on the National Enquirer or Star Magazine, or To Die For, or whatever you want to reference in the media. Yeah, so I can film racism in Tennessee, but not in California or Massachusetts. Crazy. Yep. Yep. Oh, good. Jersey said, I watched your members only stream with Ellen. I really like her. Where can I find her channel? Ellen's all over the place. Her podcast with Joey Taranto, they both are Broadway babies, is called I Think Not with an exclamation point. If you Google that, you'll find all the I Think Not everything. They are very successful over on I Think Not. They do live shows, so they travel across the country and they bring their show live. They do a ton of members only content with I Think Not. And then Ellen also has a show with Daisy Egan on Grab Bag Collab, which is where I started with the In Between podcast. And that show is called Shut the Fuck Up, Nick Lachey. And it's a recap show of Love is Blind, which is hilarious. And then she also does True Crime Rundown with Joey. That comes out on Monday nights on their general feed on their podcast. So those are the three shows where you can listen to Ellen and sometimes watch Ellen. She's very funny. She and Joey are hilarious. They bring a lot of light and laughter to some of these really dark topics. So I would tell everybody, go listen and go watch the two of them. They're two of my besties and I love them very much. But outside of that, they're incredibly talented human beings. Yeah, this is the thing. I mean, I think Rob Kevin Smith is such a huge personality and has such a huge channel. They get away with a lot more than we do because they don't really care. They're always going to have an audience. It's always going to be monetized. They're going to have millions of subscribers, whereas we are pushing to 11,000 subscribers. So I don't know if YouTube's trying to keep us down. I don't really know, but it sucks to be demonetized. I'll tell you that much because we work really hard and the ad money helps us keep this channel going. And when we get demonetized for trying to talk about hard subject matter or using the F word, it's kind of lame, but that's the way YouTube is. So I've got to figure out a way around it so that we don't get shadow banned. Okay. Oh, Lady Harlot said, as a fellow child of a borderline mother, you were doing great and I am proud of you. Thank you. That makes me feel so good. I just got little goosebumps. How sad is that? Okay. Yes. Rob can attest. Ellen and Joey are great performers. She was amazing in Priscilla, Queen of the Desert, Kinky Boots, and the Rose Tattoo. I've known Joey since he was in Rock of Ages. Joey is so talented and the biggest, flamingest, gayest person on the planet, in my opinion. So he's very funny. And Ellen is, I mean, you guys know Ellen. We've had her on the show a few times. Ellen is so whip smart and is so good at what she does. She makes me laugh so hard and we have so much fun when we're together. She's one of my besties. I miss seeing her face every single day. So go follow them. They're amazing. Okay. Despite the look on my face, this is very true. Says, when raised by a narcissist or borderline personality parent, or both in my case, you quickly learn to read, react, and conform your behavior on their micro expressions. Yes, because you don't want to get in trouble and they go through some moods. Jolene says that if you get past the first 30 minutes without using any bad words, and you are good. That's hard. We'll get there. Okay. Are we ready for trial? Now that we've had a nice little catch-up sesh. This is the medical examiner. As I said, I'm not going over her testimony. You know what she's going to say. I wanted to put her face on just so we can keep this all in order. The next person that was on is at 1:31. 1:31. Look at my little timeline. Okay. Hi, Lindsay. Poor Lindsay. Okay. This woman is a pediatrician from Quincy Pediatrics. Her name is Lindsay Rochert or Roche. I don't know how to pronounce her last name. She just testified that the kids were healthy. They were hitting their milestones. And that Lindsay specifically was normal, well-behaved, engaged, answering all health questions clearly with no flat affect, tearfulness, or visible signs of distress. So one of the things the prosecution is trying to do, and we've seen it through multiple witnesses, they ask almost every witness who had interactions with Lindsay, did she seem normal? Whatever normal fucking means. Did she seem, was she slurring her words? Was she drooling? Was she talking, hearing voices? If they keep doing this because they're trying to establish that she was fine. This woman was not fine, and we all know it. And we now have heard in medical records that within 24 hours of the incident, she may have been suffering psychosis. That is what the entire case is about. I'll say it again. You guys have heard me say it. The entire case is about proving, on the prosecution's part, they have to prove beyond a reasonable doubt that she was sane at the moment that this happened. and it's very clear that she was not. So I don't know why we're here, but here we are. And then there on the cross, Reddington does cross this witness. He did not cross the medical examiner. He gets another witness to say that she was a good mom. So we're going to listen to a little bit of this. It wasn't very long. Let me just sit up a little. Sit up straight, Mel. Sit up straight. Okay. 141.
Thank you.
Okay.
Attorney Reddington.
I have this set up.
Morning.
Good morning.
What's the time frame that you dealt with the Clancy children? Because you took care of all three of them, right?
All three,
Right.
yeah. Cora, I believe, was around 9 months old. So I want to say that I saw them from about 2019 until 2013.
And when you would see the children, who would bring the children to see you for the checkups? Was it Lindsay, or was it Lindsay and Patrick?
I think that Lindsay and Patrick came together for one of Cora's checkups, but as
Thanks
far as
for becoming a member,
visit, it was
Kim.
always Lindsay.
And,
Happy to have you.
Being an experienced pediatrician and being very protective of your patients, little kids, you're always looking to see if there's anything out of the ordinary, bruising, anything indicative of any type of psychiatric problem.
I also wanted to, this just jogged my memory. One of the things the prosecution has started trying to do is say that Lindsay was abusive to her children as well, which is absolutely 100% false. There are so many people who testified about how good of a mom she was. And they really press this questioning about her being abusive to these kids when they have Patrick's dad on the stand as their witness. They try to push that narrative, and it's disgusting. I'm so grossed out by these two women, and not because of the bow. I'm so grossed out that they are doing this and that they're allowing themselves to do this. It's so horrible.
They may have stunted growth or anything. Is that correct?
Yes.
You're always on the lookout for anything else, even if it's not mentioned to you, right?
Right.
Did you ever notice anything like that on the Clancy kids?
No.
Did they seem healthy?
Yes.
Did they seem happy?
Yes.
And in all the times that you would see Lindsay with the kids at your office, did she appear to be a doting or concerned mother for the children?
Yes, she did.
One of the questions that the DA had asked you is whether or not you're familiar with postpartum depression, postpartum psychosis, things of that nature. Would you agree with me, in your experience, extensive as it is, that a person can be suffering from postpartum depression and or postpartum psychosis and still talk?
I'm not sure I have enough expertise to explain to answer that well.
That's fine. That's fine. Thank you.
Yeah.
Was Lindsay the type of person, to your observation and your treatment of her, that she was kind of like, was she like a complainer? Would she complain to you about the kids being a pain in the neck and that she was aggravated with the children or anything like that?
Not that I remember, no.
In all of the times that you had seen her, let's focus, say, on the year of 2022 up through 2023, January 24th, when you saw the children, I'm sorry, Cora, I believe it was last, counsel had asked you whether or not you made any observations that you would have noted if she appeared to be suffering from any symptomology of postpartum. Do you recall her asking you that?
Yes.
And in your treatment of the children and in your observations of Lindsay, did you know, or did she indicate to you, or did Patrick indicate to you, or anybody indicate to you, that in October of 2022, she was seeing a psychiatrist?
No.
Do you know Dr. Tufts?
No.
Did you know that after seeing Dr. Tufts that she was placed on a selective serotonin reuptake inhibitor, SSRI, Zoloft?
No, I didn't know that.
And again, you're the pediatrician. It's not your job to pry. I mean, if you see something, you would make note of it and try to help them out. But I mean, if they don't tell you, you don't know, right? Did you know, fair to say that you didn't know that she was then seeing a Dr. Paul, and then Paul left the practice and nurse practitioner Gelada?
I didn't know that.
Okay. Do you know them?
No.
The only reason why I ask if you know them is that South Shore Medical Center, is that affiliated with South Shore Hospital?
I believe it was already owned by the hospital at that time.
Okay. Latasha Dukes, nothing about her.
No.
Any medications? Did you know about her being on any medications?
No, I didn't.
She didn't complain to you and say that she had insomnia and that she was unable to sleep or having difficulty like that?
Not that I can remember.
Mental institution?
I didn't know that.
So when you saw her on January 24th, you did not know that she had been to McLean Hospital and had been on medications or anything, right?
That's correct.
Because again, she wasn't a complainer.
Correct.
She was a hell of a mother, wasn't she?
I always thought she was a good mom.
Thank you. Redirect? No.
Again, the defense just turned this witness into a defense witness. This was someone who was called by the prosecution. This is, I think, the third or fourth person who has said she was an excellent mom. She was a good mom. She was a loving mom. She was a doting mom. And the nanny even said, called her my loving Lindsay, or I love you, Lindsay. She said, I love you. I love Lindsay. I loved Lindsay. She was a good mom. Thanks so much, Joy. You're very sweet. Thanks for the Canadian $7. Really appreciate how you're covering this trial with sensitivity and protecting our mental health. Love all you do. I appreciate you. Thank you so much. Lady Harlot says they have zero evidence of abuse, but I'm afraid people will believe it's easier to believe an abusive mother could do this. Yep, it is. That's what they're going for. They're just trying to degrade her character in any way that they can to get the sympathy of the jury. Christine says, do you think the prosecution lawyer is wearing bows to infantilize herself and subconsciously come across as innocent and truthful to the jury? I don't know why she's wearing those friggin' bows. But she wasn't wearing them in pretrial hearings. So it's for the jury. I don't know what she thinks they're going to, if the jury is thinking about it the way that we're thinking about it, it's backfiring. The bow is backfiring. And I don't know. I don't know why she's wearing those stupid bows. Amanda says, plus what they're messing up on is this. She wasn't psychotic or suffering psychosis in that moment when she saw this pediatrician. It really could have been in and out at certain times. People don't get it. Yes. Thank you, Ellie. We appreciate your work, Mel. Appreciate you. She was a hell of a mother, wasn't she? Is so powerful. I love Reddington. Same, Lady Harlot. I love him so much. Oh, hello, the Autistic 179. First time watcher, just finished watching you on Greg's show. Oh, so glad you're over here. Thanks for being here. Yeah, so interesting. Oh, thanks for the $10, Amanda. Thanks for the tip. Working double, triple time this week. I am, but I love it. I mean, I wouldn't be doing this. I wouldn't be doing as many streams as I'm doing if I didn't love this and I didn't love being here with you guys. So it is work, but it's work I absolutely love. So I'm happy to be here. Okay. This witness, let me see. I don't think she did any kind of a redirect. Maybe she did.
All right. Thank you, Doctor.
Thank you.
No, she's done. Okay. I am going to skip over a couple of these witnesses that are coming up because I don't feel the need to hear from the children's pre-K teachers, preschool teachers. They didn't add anything to this case other than to say that Lindsay seemed to be a good mom. So we had 3 witnesses in a row who detailed that Lindsay was not an abusive mother and that she was a loving, caring, responsive mother. So we're not going to go through their testimony because it just twists it even more for the jury, and I don't like it. I think it's dirty pool is what I'll say. But the next person that we are going to talk to, let's see, 1, 2, 3. The next 3 witnesses are people who worked with and or were friends of Lindsay's. And I think the testimony is actually really important. So I don't know if we need to focus so much on the direct examination. Let me just look at my notes. What I'm going to do is this. I am going to recap for you what happened on direct, and then we'll watch some of the cross. Just because I think that Reddington is a better lawyer and he's doing better lawyering. But the next person that we had up was Andrea Hennigan. She is a labor and delivery nurse at Mass General Hospital. And she's at 212. Oops. 212. Okay, these are all right, 212. This is Andrea.
Microphone, keep your voice up so all the jurors can hear you, okay?
Yes.
All right, perfect. Ms. Ray.
Thank you. Good morning. Can you please?
Okay, so as I said, she is a labor and delivery nurse at Mass General Hospital. She testified that she was I think 7-year longtime colleague and close friend of Lindsay's, and that they were in MGH's labor and delivery for 7 years together. Yeah, 7 years. They had a lunch together with other friends in November of 2022. So this was while Lindsay was really suffering and a couple of months before this incident happened. And Lindsay was telling Andrea and her friends that she was struggling with severe insomnia, anxiety, and brain fog, and felt mentally unready to return to caring for hospital patients. So at this lunch, Hennigan and the fellow nurses who she was with, who were all friends, people she worked with, they were encouraging her to go and seek medical or therapeutic help. And on January 23rd, Lindsay texted Andrea stating that she was out of the daily program and working with psychiatrists to find the right medication that allowed her to sleep while functioning during the day despite bad medication side effects. Again, I don't know why the prosecution is calling this witness. She's not helping them. She's not helping their case whatsoever. But here we are. I guess I shouldn't complain about it because it's just helping the defense. And I'm on the side of the defense in this case. I can say that wholeheartedly. But I don't understand what they're doing here. This is a sham of a trial. All right. Reddington.
So I don't know that the tone was different that day.
But it wasn't a negative tone.
Thank you.
He's so cute.
So even during the, say, the difficult times that she had, she was always trying to be hopeful and always tried to have a positive outlook on her health.
That was my impression, yes.
And you obviously are a good friend.
Yes, I believe so.
Okay, I'm sorry to this is a total segue here, and I'm only going to address this once, and then I'm going to move on from it. But I do feel like it needs to be addressed. Rubinate, I think your name is, says, sorry to bring up politics, but what you said about Greta being tortured in Israel prisons is propaganda. I know for a fact that it's not propaganda because Greg Stoker, who was on the flotilla with her and was also in an Israeli prison, witnessed the abuse. And so there's a witness that I know personally who has told me what happened. So it's not propaganda. I'm gonna go against your theory and opinion on that. And that's all I want to say about it. Okay.
And you've known her for what, 7 years? 9 years now, right?
Yes, I believe since 2015, if that's when she began working at Mass General.
Right. So she was like a 24-year-old kid when she first started there, right?
Yes.
And you basically knew her right out of nursing school, all the way up through
Yes.
until she finally had the last baby, right?
Mm-hmm.
Can you tell us, what was her work ethic? Was she a good nurse? Was she a caring nurse? Tell us what your observations were. Granted that you're a friend and you might be biased, but tell us what you thought.
Yes. Lindsay loved being a nurse and was excellent at it. It was a second degree for her to go to nursing school. And you could tell with Lindsay, it was more of a calling that she really cared so deeply, specifically about caring for pregnant women and women giving birth. She was very attentive to all of her patients' needs. She was very smart. And mostly she was incredibly nurturing and caring.
Thank you. And during the period of time in the fall of 2022 up through Thanksgiving of 22 and then into 23, you obviously, as a good friend, stayed in close contact with her, texting, seeing her, dinner, lunches, and everything, right?
Yes.
And then when you and some of the other nurses would go to a lunch, for example, if I understand correctly, on one of the luncheons that you had in the fall of 22, she was telling or sharing with you the fact that she was going through a difficult period.
Yes.
Told you that she was not in a good mental state, that she had a lot of insomnia, and she even described it as brain fog, right?
Yes, I believe so. She definitely used those words in our text messages, as the fall progressed, but I believe she used those words during the lunch. She definitely said that she was in a difficult mental place and didn't think she'd be able to go back to work.
And she told you that she was actually actively treating with medical personnel. Did she say a psychiatrist, psychologist, or just seeing doctors, or what did she say?
Yes, she talked about therapists. She talked about going on medication. At some point in that month of November, she said she had even gone to the emergency department.
Did she tell you that she was having negative side effects with the medication that she had been prescribed by these doctors?
She did. She did not elaborate on the side effects, but she did say that multiple times.
So as close as you were for all those years working together, and you guys worked together through the COVID too, right?
Yes.
Is that a bonding experience with nurses?
Yes.
Yeah.
During that period of time, did you ever observe her? Was she a complainer? Like, would she come and complain to you, or was she pretty much private, but would share her opinions of what was happening inside of her?
She was not a complainer about work or home or anything, but we were friends, and she did share more personal details with me.
And when she was working would you guys be working on the night shift, or would you work in the afternoon, or
The night shift.
night shift?
Mhm.
So did you ever see her go on her phone and access cameras to see what was going on at home with the babies or anything like that?
Yes.
Is that something that she would do on a regular basis, staying in touch with the family and looking at the cameras?
Yes.
Did she ever tell you why she was doing that?
Not specifically.
She, to your appearance or to your observation, appeared to be very concerned about her kids, right?
Yes.
Did you ever hear her complain that she wanted to leave behind the life that she had and basically move on something better?
Oh, no. Lindsay, from the time I met her as a young woman, very much desired to be a mother and have a family.
And she did share with you that her mother-in-law actually
A couple of things. Emily Anderson wants to know, was the prosecution forced to try this case? Could these women have said no? A part of me wants to think they're throwing it on purpose, but I doubt that part. I don't think they're trying to throw it. I think they're looking, I think that they think this is slam dunk for some reason, and that they're going to get their, conviction rate it's going to add to their conviction rate numbers. Personally, if this case came before me, I would have quit my job rather than prosecute it. And so I don't think that they're forced. They do have options. You can quit your job. You are a lawyer. You're not going to have any problem getting another job. Prosecutors don't make a ton of money. So it seems to me like they chose to do this on their own, which I don't understand why. But that's just me, like, that's conjecture, but that's my opinion on it. And then Joy says, isn't this hearsay? He's getting statements of his client in from someone else. He is, but no one's objecting to it. So until it's objected to, I mean, the prosecution did the same thing with her. They asked about this meeting and they asked about, what was said. So no one's objecting. So it keeps going, as I understand it.
referred her to somebody for some help as well, correct?
Yes.
In the holiday period, you guys stayed in touch again. You were texting her, and that's when she was, now we know she was in McLean Hospital, but she told you she was in an intensive program, right?
Correct.
In other words, she didn't say, I can't go to lunch with you guys because I'm in a mental hospital. She basically said, I'm treating my problems.
Correct.
To your years of dealing with Lindsay and seeing her with her kids and her family, what's your opinion of her as a mother?
Hey, Tracy.
Lindsay was a very loving, caring mother. This is exactly what she wanted to have. She wanted a big family. She was happy to have her children close in age.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I think that's 5 witnesses now that I
Thank you.
count who have said she was a loving, caring mother, and this is what she wanted to do with her life. So what are we doing? Okay, the next person up, let's see, is this is Bethany DeColobus. She's a licensed marriage and family therapist and a friend of Lindsay Clancy's. And on her direct, she testified as a personal friend, not as a therapist. But she met Lindsay through play dates with other moms. And she said she observed Lindsay appearing increasingly tired over time, especially after the baby's birth, the last baby. At a group dinner in November of 2022, Lindsay mentioned feeling anxious and having trouble sleeping, but expressed hope about connecting with doctors. At a birthday party in January 2023, Lindsay mentioned her sleep hadn't improved and she felt like a zombie, though she remained capable of engaging with the kids and parents. So again, prosecution witness, why are they bringing this information out? It's not helping their case. And then Reddington does cross her. So let's watch that. 241.
Memory as to a conversation.
Fair to say that you were obviously pretty good friends with Lindsay?
Yes.
And fair to say that in that regard, you had occasion to observe objectively things like she looked tired, she was complaining that she was tired.
Same, Amanda.
Said
Same.
that she was anxious.
Yes.
Told you that at one point towards the end of time frame into January that she felt like a zombie. Correct?
Yes.
Did you ask her any questions like the district attorney was asking you? Did you ask her, well, what are your symptoms and what do you feel like? And what do you, is there anything that you can tell me about how you feel? Did you probe in that regard?
I don't remember probing about specific
Right.
symptoms. No.
So in other words, you're friends and you and Erin and Lindsay were out to dinner or lunch and you're trying to have a good time, right?
Yes.
How was she as a mother to your observations? Did she, as far as taking care of her kids, being happy with the kids? Did she not like her kids? What were your observations?
She loved her kids. She was warm, kind, consistent, loving.
And you actually were summoned to be here today by the district attorney's office, correct?
I was.
And you actually were interviewed by the state police. That's what she was questioning you about, page 11 and page 12. It was a recorded interview and things of that nature, right?
Yes.
Would you agree with me that although she may not have been telling you that she was seeing something that wasn't there, or hearing voices, or drooling, or acting in some unusual fashion while you guys
Jesus.
were out having lunch, she did express to you that she was having some difficulties, correct?
She expressed that she was having difficulty. Yes.
And would you say, knowing Lindsay as you did, that she was a type that was not really a complainer? She would not try to be a downer when you're out to lunch and having a good time with your friends and complain about her symptoms?
No.
But she did tell you that she was somewhat hopeful because she was seeing healthcare providers.
Yes.
And one of the things that they had asked you about, fair to say that when you talked to the police, you told them that you had spent a lot of time chatting about, over this period of time, that she had been having a lot of trouble sleeping, and that she referenced the postpartum period, right?
Yes.
And when you were talking to the police, the troopers, did they try to divert you? Did you feel that they were trying to get what your observations were, or did they want you to focus on their questions when they were questioning you?
Could you repeat
No,
that
it's a bad question. Never mind. It's a bad
It's a
question. I'm
bad
sorry.
question. Bad.
But nevertheless, you actually told them that you had been in touch with her. You'd been to the house, right?
I had been in touch with her. Yes.
Yeah, and you knew Patrick.
Yes.
Other than socializing with your friends and with Erin and going out to lunches, you guys would also text, correct?
Yes.
I mean, that's a way of keeping in touch with each other.
Yes.
And she would respond to your inquiries about fun things and about kids, right?
Yes.
But also, on occasion, you were concerned about her and you'd ask her how she's doing, right?
Yes.
And when you would ask her those things, she would tell you, for example, that she didn't know what medications were doing to her, but she in fact mentioned to you that the medications did not appear as though they were helping, and she still wasn't able to get any sleep.
Correct.
And further, in the statements that you gave to the police when they were asking you questions about your observations, she did indicate on a couple of occasions that she had obtained a therapist and a prescriber, and she would reference her relationship with Pat and tell you that Pat's great, things like that, right?
Yes.
You said yes. I'm sorry, the door
Yes.
closed. So in those occasions, did she ever complain about Pat, or they seem to be getting along pretty good?
They seem to be getting along great.
Was he supportive to your observations of her?
Yes.
Then when you went out to the other dinner, did you indicate to the police that in that conversation that her mother knows everything, or she told you, my mom knows everything, and she's working it out as far as the therapist and the drugs, correct?
Yes.
And you still felt that it was readily apparent that she was struggling, right?
Yes.
Still having difficulty sleeping and being anxious, right?
Yes.
And as a friend, you were concerned, right?
I was concerned. Yes.
Now, one of the questions the DA had asked you is that she was supposed to go back to work, and that she indicated that she had canceled that date to go back to work because she still wasn't sleeping well. Is that right?
She had. Yes.
And those were her words, that she canceled going back to work because she still wasn't sleeping well.
Yes.
Did she ever talk to you about work? Did she seem to like her job as a labor and delivery nurse?
She loved it, as far as I knew.
And then you were at Cora's birthday party in January, is that correct?
Yes.
And that was the one that was at the trampoline park, right?
Yes.
And it was that time, and that would have been in January of 23, I believe, that it was in that time that you were concerned and you said, hey, are you getting any sleep? And she was like, no, I feel like a zombie, is what her words were, correct?
Yes.
Is that the last time you saw her?
Yes.
Thank you.
Can you redirect?
No, Your Honor.
All right, thank you, ma'am. Let me step down.
Okay, we had a quick break in trial. Then we have this witness. Kim says, I don't understand either. I feel the only benefit of this trial is that it has called attention to the real issue of the fact that the postpartum depression and psychosis is real. Yeah, I mean, that's why it's important. That's why I'm covering it, honestly. Amanda says, I also think people think postpartum is only up to 6 weeks after birth. It can be up to 3 years. Yes. Okay. This next person, these are interesting witnesses because not only are they Lindsay's close friends, they're also, the first witness was a coworker, but these last two witnesses are therapists and licensed behavioral. This next one's a licensed behavior analyst. So why? Why? What are they? I mean, I think I could have put on, even though I don't agree with the prosecution's case or even bringing charges, I think I could have put on a better case. I could have found better witnesses, I think. This next person who's sitting on in the witness box right now is Amy Bevins. She's a licensed behavior analyst and a childhood friend of Lindsay's. So she's going to testify. She did testify to being close friends with Lindsay for 29 years since elementary school. In text messages a few days prior to January 24th, 2023, Lindsay was sharing with Amy that she'd been taking medication that caused her to have some dark thoughts, but she was tapering off of it and trying new medications. Bevins The tone of the messages Bevins described as hopeful and positive about finding therapeutic help. She also testified to visiting Lindsay at Spalding Rehab in March of 2023, where they played Uno and made small talk about friends and hobbies. Why? Why? Okay. And then next up, Kevin Reddington. What's the time code on that? 3:34. Kevin Reddington gets up to do the cross here. 3:34.
Okay. You guys go back how far?
Almost 29 years.
And over those 29 years, knowing Lindsay, when you guys were in grammar school, I guess, in high school, and you went off to college, and you had your families and your marriages, tell us what your opinion was of her as a person.
I knew her as a good person, a good friend, a good mom.
And you had occasion to see her with her kids and how she acted with her kids, Cora, up till Kellen.
Yes.
And did you ever observe anything out of the ordinary? Or did she appear to be a loving person and taking care of her kids?
I never saw anything out of the ordinary.
District Attorney asked you about the visit that you had when you were good enough to visit with her at Spalding Rehab. And this was when, in March of 23?
Yes.
And arrangements had to be made for you to visit with her. You had to get approval, and whether you know or not, I mean, I had to kind of help you out a little bit trying to get through the red tape to get in there to see her, along with her family approval and that type of thing, right?
I don't recall any of that.
But you were able to get in.
Yes.
To visit with her. And this would have been in the beginning of March, if you know, the middle of March, the end.
I don't recall the exact time.
Was she able to walk around and ambulate, or was she in a wheelchair, or what was her condition? Was she in bed?
She was in a wheelchair. She was sitting up the entire visit.
Did you ask her about why she was in the wheelchair and anything like that?
No.
You knew that she had been in the hospital from January 24th, right?
Yes.
And you knew that your friend had been charged by the police and had killed her 3 beautiful children, right?
Yes.
That was a bit of an awkward, uncomfortable topic, wasn't it?
I think it would be for anybody, yes.
Absolutely. And the district attorney asked you whether or not she cried and whether or not she told you about her children and anything to do with her children at that incident. You both basically stayed away from that entire subject, right?
I remember also being told not to bring that up specifically, which at the time I figured that could be due to the recommendation of mental health providers, et cetera, who were treating her.
Right. And who told you that?
Her sister.
Now, how long did you visit with her?
It was brief, maybe 30 to 45 minutes.
That's all I have. Oh, wait a minute. Did you guys have a group get together in December of 2022, if you recall?
I don't recall.
Do you recall seeing her after Thanksgiving around that time frame in December of 22?
I don't recall no.
Do you recall having conversations with her around that time frame, which would be in December of 2022, that she was talking to you about medications and asking you questions about a particular medication?
I don't recall the exact time frame of those conversations.
Okay. You were summoned here today by the DA's office, is that correct?
Yes.
You were also on my witness list as well, right?
Yes.
And when I ask you about the conversations, the reason is you were questioned by the state police back in January of 23. Do you remember that?
Yes.
And one of the troopers had asked you whether or not you had any conversations with Lindsay, your friend, about medications. And you indicated that, and I quote, page 12, she knows that I'm pretty open about mental health, that I'm a big advocate of mental health. And she asked me if I knew, if I had tried a medication. Do you remember saying that?
Yes.
Okay. Does that refresh your memory at all as to approximately what time, when that was? Would that have been in December of 22, after Thanksgiving?
I don't know. I still don't recall the exact time, but I do remember that being a conversation that we had.
Okay. Do you remember where you had the conversation?
It was over text message.
Okay. Do you recall her asking you what your experience was? Because you had some knowledge of medications, correct?
As a patient.
Okay. And as a result of that and being close and good friends, that she had asked you what your experience was. And again, it's page 13. And she would say, how was your experience? Did you ever take this? What was your experience with this? That type of thing. Do you remember that? That conversation?
I don't recall the specific conversation.
Do you recall the medication that she asked you about?
Yes.
What was that?
I remember it being Lexapro.
Do you recall in your text message exchange that she had asked you about or told you about some of the medications that she was taking and that there were some difficulties with it?
Yes.
Do you remember that she had asked you whether or not you had noted or if you were aware of any side effects of medications?
I don't recall.
And after those text threads and with that understanding, being as close to Lindsay as you were, she then confided in you that she was having dark thoughts, as I think was the expression.
That was
a long time after the conversation that we had had about the medication. I do remember that being the first time I had heard any concern around her mental health up until that point.
Okay, and what point was that, if you remember?
Can you restate the question?
Sure. Let me ask it this way. When she told you that she was having problems or difficulties with the medication, and when she was telling you that she was having dark thoughts, do you remember when that was?
Towards the end of January 2023,
Okay. Do you remember, was that in person or was that a message, text message?
over text message.
Did she explicate it? Did she explain what the dark thoughts were?
No.
And the next time you saw her after that was at the hospital rehab, correct?
Yes.
Thank you, ma'am. That's all I have.
Counsel? All right, thank you, ma'am. You may step down.
Okay. So again, it's a witness who's on both the prosecution and the defense's list. The prosecution called that witness. I don't know why. They seem kind of dumb. The next witness is a big one, but not a ton of, we didn't get a ton of information. It was a little bit awkward. The next witness that we are calling is Christopher Clancy, who is Patrick's father. So her former father-in-law. And I, again, don't understand why the prosecution is calling this guy. I don't understand why they call the next witness after, who is Kyle Carney, Patrick's college friend. Doesn't help them. On that note, I have to take a really quick break because I need to run to the bathroom. But I will be back in 5 minutes. Y'all stick around. Don't forget to tip your server if you feel it, if you can. Appreciate y'all. I will be right back. Good morning, everybody. I am Mel Barrett.
I'm Rebecca Lavoie, allegedly. I'm smart.
Happy Monday, everybody. I am Mel Barrett.
I'm Rebecca Lavoie. Happy gay summer, Mel.
Happy hump day, everybody. I am Mel Barrett.
I'm not humping anybody. I'm Rebecca Lavoie.
Happy Saturday, everybody. I am Mel Barrett. Oh, no.
I'm Rebecca Lavoie, and my mic is muted.
Good morning, everybody. I am Mel Barrett.
I'm Rebecca Lavoie, and that's Briscoe.
And welcome to Something's Off, a true crime podcast where we swat the haters aside with our astute takes and humor and joy. And
the joylessness
I don't
of
give a
those
fucking
people.
miss. Blah.
Hags.
You hear it first in the break in the story. One little crack and the whole thing gets wary. A witness swears but the timeline bends. A smile too smooth and the trail just ends. Mel Barrett says, hold up, look again. Rebecca Lavoie follows every thread. If it feels too neat, then it's not the truth. There's a shadow line running through the room. Something's off, something's off. You can feel it in the bones. Something's off, something's off. When the facts won't come home. Something's off, something's off. And the case won't stay in place. Something's off. We're the ones who chase.
This is
Pull it,
literally
Jimmy.
because it's 100. It's been happening for the past day.
Oh, dear God. Everywhere's a hot spot when Dr. Wolf was on the TV. Am I right? Everywhere's a hot spot when Dr. Wolf is on the TV. I'm sorry. This is very funny.
What are you laughing about?
Because you're just sitting there waiting for the video to start.
I was listening this whole time. You
Listening to what? You're not playing anything, and now you're frozen. God, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Let me text Mel. Let me call Mel real quick. I'm going to call Mel.
No, I'm not answering your call. I'm not doing it.
I don't think.
Why is it? Oh, Jesus.
Maybe go back on the Wi-Fi.
I am back on the Wi-Fi. Can you hear me now? Can we do the show now? Should we do the show now? Rebecca? Rebecca, can you hear me? Can you hear me now?
Internet. Hello.
Hello? Hello, worldwide interwebs. Can you hear me? Let's do this. I have to look at my phone over here.
We're going to go members only.
Something's off. We're the ones who chase. Yeah, we're the ones who chase. Wait, did that witness just blink 3 times? Something's off.
Commonwealth calls Christopher Clancy.
I don't know why the video ran, but I'm back. Hi. Okay. Christopher Clancy. I'm hesitant to hold on. I have a new Diet Coke. I'm gonna crack it open. I'm hesitant to show any of the direct for Christopher Clancy because the direct really pushes this abuse narrative, and I don't want to give any air to that. So what I will tell you is this. Lindsay Clancy's former father-in-law is very much in the same camp as everyone else who loves Lindsay Clancy. He describes her as very mothering, protective, and loving. He recalled seeing them around Thanksgiving when Lindsay appeared quiet and slightly frustrated with the chaos around her. There were a lot of people, and there was a moment with her middle child where she directed him into a seat. He was, he was being rambunctious. There were a lot of people. It was Thanksgiving, and she, as it was described by her former father-in-law, she basically directed him into his dinner seat by the arm. And he was like, but there was nothing. She was being a good mom. There was nothing. She didn't do anything wrong. Nothing weird. She just was, being a little firm with him and like asking him to sit down because it was so chaotic. And that's what they're trying to say was abusive. It's just ridiculous. He said that he described seeing Lindsay, yes, being depressed and surrounded by people is so effing hard, Mima says. Exactly. He described Lindsay on Christmas morning of 2022, so this is about a month prior, and he noted that she looked beautiful, happy, and that she went to mass with the family. He also mentioned that she appeared to have a blankness, quote unquote, or a quiet stare at times during the holidays. So this is when she was like in the throes of this dangerous cocktail of prescriptions that they had her on. So obviously she was a little out of it. Makes sense. Okay, we are going to watch The Cross though, because The Cross is great. Let me grab the time code. 3:56. Thanks for bearing with me while I get through some of this. Let me share this with y'all again. Okay, we are looking at 3:53. I will say, as far as the demeanor of Patrick's father on the stand, Christopher, he obviously didn't want to be there. He was frustrated. He had asked right when he first got up there if that water bottle that you see on the screen was for him. They said it was. He drank the water bottle. He had obviously been prepped by the prosecution about the questions that he was going to be asked. And so he would refer to things like, oh, is this the thing that you, and they would be like, yep. And they would cut him off. So he was basically like, I'm just trying to do my best here. You guys, not doing a great job. Okay. Kevin gets up here.
Which are you ready?
Okay.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Mr. Clancy, just a couple of questions. You were summoned to be here by the DA, is that correct?
Correct.
And you gave statements to whoever wanted statements. You were very cooperative with the investigation, is that right?
Yes.
And being as you're obviously grandfather and father of Pat, over the years, from the time they were dating, engaged, married, kids, you and your wife were pretty close with both of them, were you not?
Yes.
Do you have an opinion as to how Lindsay was as a mother that you could see?
She was very, very good. She fed them great. She did a lot of things with them. They did like the all-American family.
And
the all-American
the
family.
attorney had asked you about Thanksgiving of 22, November 16th of 22, and she made reference. I think you had responded that she appeared to be quiet, and then she used the term, did you know about the struggles? Can you tell me what the struggles were? Do you know what she meant by that?
I knew. Sure. Yeah.
Okay, sidebar. This is an interesting sidebar. I don't know what they're objecting to because they're the ones who have been trying to bring up the struggles. I don't know what they're doing here, but here we are. Commonwealth prosecution. Let's get through this sidebar. Whoa.
She just,
Too much.
I was asking you about the word the struggles, and can you just tell the jury what was meant by the struggles?
Hey, Aunt B.
I knew she was having a hard time sleeping. I knew she just didn't feel well. I know she had gone to the emergency room where my wife was working. Those types of struggles.
And just so, obviously for the record, your wife would be Sue?
Yes.
And she's a nurse, labor and delivery at South Shore?
Yes.
And did Lindsay confide, to your knowledge, yes or no, to your wife about some of her issues as a result of which your wife referred her to a person to speak to?
Yes.
Do you know who that person was?
I don't remember the person's name.
Okay, would that be the South Shore perinatal, I think is what it's called?
Yes.
Okay. And understanding that you're the father-in-law, would you agree that the two of you and Lindsay, had a pretty good relationship?
Yes, very good.
And you told us about November 16th and then Thanksgiving of 22 and then up until Christmas and then after Christmas and the time frame, actually right up to January 24th, you guys were supposed to get together that night, right?
Correct. Well, no, we weren't. We were asked to come to dinner that
But
night.
you had other plans.
We had other plans.
Okay. District Attorney asked you about, on a number of occasions, about the time at your home. I think it was on Thanksgiving when Dawson was acting a little rambunctious or silly, and that she guided him to his seat. To your opinion and what you could observe, did you believe that she was being abusive to him at all?
No.
And you know her mother and father as well, correct?
Yeah.
And the four of you, the in-laws from both sides, you and your wife, Sue, and Lindsay's mother and father, both were all kind of pulling together to try to help this young couple out during that time frame, right?
Yes.
And your son, Patrick, he was very concerned about his wife, was he not?
He was.
And he confided in you on a number of occasions.
Yes.
I'm sorry, sir. Thank you.
Como? All right, thank you, sir. Let me sit down.
I'm
Thank you.
sorry, sir. Nothing further. Ugh. These poor people. Non-conversational. I appreciate your comments about it not being the all-American family with kids and no support from family, community, and doctors. I'm going to push back slightly because I do think she had a ton of support from her husband, both families, her family, her immediate family, her in-laws, her friends, other nurses in the community. But I do think it's the medical industry and the insurance industry that let this woman down. And I want to give credit to Patrick for being what I feel like was a good dad. He seemed involved. We've heard from several witnesses about pediatrician appointments. I watched the testimony of the pre-K teachers. It was either Lindsay or Patrick that would take the kids to their appointments and drop them off, or sometimes they were together. It seemed like they had a lot of, from the pictures that we saw of the house from the beginning, all of that was Lindsay, the drawings and all the artwork that she did with the kids and things like that. And all the notes she left for the nanny, but the nanny even said that they were both heavily involved in the kids' schedules and taking care of the children. So I want to make sure that Patrick gets his due. Excuse me. But it does seem like Lindsay was the majority parent in this situation. It's okay. We can disagree gently. I appreciate that. He may have been spending a lot of time in New York. He may not have understood how to handle any of this. He may have been on a lot of work trips. And I know that Lindsay, like I said, was the majority parent here. But he was a loving and supportive husband, and he was an advocate for her. If you read the civil file, which I went over in the Scapiccio Papers episode, it talks about how Patrick would accompany her to a couple of these appointments with doctors to make sure that she had someone there advocating for her. So I do want to say those things about Patrick, but I do believe you, and I do agree with you that Lindsay was the majority parent in this situation, and she was basically having to take care of 4 human beings, 3 children and Patrick. But I don't think Patrick is a bad guy, and I don't think he was a bad father or a bad partner. I just think that he too did not know what to do in this situation and how to help her in the best way possible. So, let's skip forward. We went through lunch before we got to, I think this might be the last witness. Hold on. This is Kyle Carney. There's one more witness after Kyle. Kyle is Patrick's college friend. And he lived with he lived in Duxbury, and he socialized with Patrick and Lindsay both. So he knows both of them through beach dates, play dates with their kids, all that stuff. So he testified that 2 days before the incident, which was Sunday, January 22nd of 2023, Patrick, Lindsay, and the 2 older kids came over to his house for a backyard brush fire, like a bonfire. He said it was perfectly normal, nice afternoon. Lindsay seemed quieter than normal, but conversed normally with him and I assume his partner and the people that were there. So he didn't really bring much to the discussion. Again, it was just another observation from a family friend who saw Lindsay in the days leading up to this, who said that she seemed a little out of it and quiet, but nice, normal, yada, yada. No cross-examination on Kyle. Then for some reason, they brought back someone from the Massachusetts State Police after all these witnesses. So this last witness of the day, let me bring it up here. It was this guy. His name is Sergeant Andrew Chiachico, I believe is how his last name is pronounced. And he testified to tracking Patrick Clancy's timeline on the evening of January 24th. So the important part about this testimony is, I think, to dispel all of these ridiculous conspiracy rumors about Patrick being responsible for this. He gathered surveillance video and verified timestamps. He confirmed that Patrick got to the Kingston CVS at 5:32. So that is verified right there. We had this conversation last Saturday, I think, about which CVS Patrick went to. And it was the Kingston CVS. He got there at 5:32. He left at 5:37. He arrived at 3V Restaurant in Plymouth at 5:54 and left at 5:55 p.m. Andrew also testified to getting Lindsay Clancy's buccal swab or a mouth swab at Tewksbury State Hospital on May 15th, 2024, which is quite a while afterward. And he introduced a Facebook post made by Lindsay on May 5th, 2021 in the Attachment Parenting for Littles group, where she expressed intense frustration with her middle child. Sort of combating her on daily routines, dressing, car seats. So she was reaching out for help in 2021 about how to deal with what sounds like an rambunctious little boy. So again, they're pushing this narrative that she hated her kids, I guess, was abusive, but she wasn't. She was a mom reaching out to other moms and parents, trying to discuss attachment styles and things like that with their kids. This prosecution is ridiculous. I'll just say it. Friggin' again. They are ridiculous. Reddington did cross this guy, so we're going to watch that. Okay.
Good afternoon, sir.
So this would be Exhibit 217.
The mic.
Parenting for Littles, post by Lindsay, correct?
Correct.
And this was back in May of 2021?
Yes,
And she was talking about her son, who at the time was 19 months old?
that's correct.
Now, as a state police officer, you know how to investigate things, right?
Yes.
You guys must have turned things inside out to find out if Lindsay Clancy was ever abusive to her son, Dawson, right?
That's correct.
Good morning,
Oh,
Legal
nothing, do you?
Tubes.
No.
Thank you. That's all I have.
That's it.
Thank you,
That's
sir.
it. He looked into whether she was abusive, and this police officer says, nope, she wasn't. So great witness prosecution. Good job, you guys. Good job. Golf clap. Golf chap for Bo Peep and her partner. Yes, unprepared is different than unsupportive. I would agree with that, Rach Knitter. He was also the majority breadwinner. He was probably doing what he thought was best for his family. Yeah, I don't know what Patrick was thinking. I do know that they were worried a little bit about money. So I'm sure that because Lindsay was not working. I don't know if I know she was on maternity leave, so she may have gotten paid for some of that. But then they decided, and you heard this testimony from the nanny, that they asked her for her 2 weeks because Lindsay had decided not to go back to work. So that was probably an extra stress on the family. Not her fault, not Patrick's fault, but the right decision, in my opinion. If she wasn't sleeping for 48 hours straight, she shouldn't be caring for patients if she's not alert and on top of her sleep schedule, in my opinion. Legal Tubes, I'm so glad you're here. Thanks again for being here. You're very sweet. Let's see. Is that true about the multiple sclerosis? I don't know about that, Legal Tubes. If anyone else knows about that in the chat, let us know. Brummy says, I do feel like these prosecutors are looking at what is being said on social media and adjusting their approach as they go along. That could be. We have seen other cases, Karen Reed, and the civil cases where judges, prosecutors, clerks are looking at what's happening, what we're seeing on social media and using that in the cases. They're obviously allowed to do that, but they're not getting the full story sometimes when they're doing that. So, yeah. D Cool says, a toddler was being obnoxious. Wild. Never heard of that happening before, right? Yeah. Mima says, oh no, horrible mother. Not. She was seeking advice. I despise these ADAs. Yeah, I love, Amanda, this is such a great point. I love how this defense attorney doesn't waste time. Kevin Reddington, sometimes it feels to me like he is sitting in his living room and having an open debate because of the way that he like pops up and just starts asking questions, doesn't give anybody time, doesn't even bother with niceties, which I appreciate. Like, hello, welcome to court today. My name is Kevin Reddington. Thank you for being here, yada, yada. He just gets up and he starts asking the questions because he is there for his client. And that is it. I love it. So wild to watch this parade of unnecessary witnesses. Seems like a lot of resources to expand to drag this out, Melissa says. Agreed. Legal Tube says, my sister spent years complaining that she was in pain and they disregarded her until she had to have a full hysterectomy after a cyst burst. No chance for children. That's awful. And I can attest to that pain. I've had it myself. When a cyst bursts, it is incredibly painful. I'm so sorry that happened to your sister. The nanny was working for them while she was on maternity leave. Yes, but only because she was getting used to their schedule and working with the kids in preparation for Lindsay to go back to work. And then when Lindsay decided not to go back to work, they let her go. In a nice way. They had it was a mutual, like not mutual, but it was they were fine with the breakup with the nanny. The nanny was fine with it. She said, I love Lindsay. She was a really good mom, all those things. She doesn't have, oh, I'm a mosquito. Get down. Get down. Okay. We're going to get to this very interesting hearing that happens after the jury leaves for the day. That I found fascinating. And we're going to get to hear about a witness that's going to be kind of the defense, which I am insanely excited for. And I'm sure you will be too. Let me see. Okay, so post-hearing yesterday, they discussed motions about how many of the defense witnesses? 3 or 4? Let's see. My notes. 1, 2, 3. Yeah. They were discussing 3 witnesses that the prosecution is fighting for some reason. So let's watch this and we'll talk about it on the other side, okay? All right.
Well, what I wanted to do was hear the arguments in regards to the defendant's motion for permission to call witnesses. I know that this was filed this morning, but it's kind of hand in glove with issues that were raised a couple of weeks ago. At least mentioned the same witnesses. So I'm going to hear first from the defendant. They'll hear from the Commonwealth I will probably take it under advisement and review some of the other documents, but I want to make this decision as soon as I can, so everybody kind of can plan on how they go based on the decision. So, Mr. Reddington, let me hear you first on this.
Thank you. Your Honor, obviously, I don't have to belabor the obvious. This is a murder trial, very serious business. And we've all been working very hard on discovery, which, as you can tell, is voluminous. Hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of pages of state police interviews. And I mentioned, about with the government. They have cops. They have people going out and interviewing. They have videos. They have chemists. They have detectives. They have local cops. They want a cup of coffee. They can send 5 cops down the street to get one.
Oh.
Except for my son, Patrick, who helps me out getting coffee. All right. And the reason I sound frustrated is that they're objecting 2 weeks ago because they need time to review, to cross-examine doctors on very basic items of evidence that are their items of evidence. Not one of those witnesses is adding or bringing anything new to the discovery, if you will. And not by way of excuse, but, I am a sole practitioner. In the past, May, June, July, in the past 3 months, I've had a murder, a rape, and 2 back-to-back federal trials that ended 1 week before we impaneled on this case. I have worked really hard to pull this case together with expert witnesses, civilian witnesses, private investigators been investigating. I provide everything to them as soon as I get it. And they have been doing the same with me. I haven't objected to one thing that they have offered. They put an AutoCAD computer animated display disc on my desk last week. I didn't complain about it, run to you and try to exclude it. I said, fine, no problem, put it in my pile and move on. That's it. So to suggest that they need time to be able to cross-examine both, I've had trials with both of these prosecutors. They're both experienced. They're very, very familiar with the trial of major criminal cases. I feel that they're more than capable of being able to cross-examine, for example, number one, Dr. Volkovich, who is a board-certified emergency medicine physician. His report indicates that he has taken a look at South Shore Hospital. He's taken a look at the Brigham and Women's Hospital. He's taken a look at the photographs. That's their evidence. That's all he looked at. And all he's doing is basically what all of their South Shore doctors came in and testified to as to the nature of the injuries, in his opinion, the type of injury that she suffered, talking about the injuries to the right and left wrist as well as the neck. In his opinion, dealing with suicide attempts, that it's a legitimate suicide attempt. There's no secrets. There's nothing new that they have to prepare to cross-examine him on. Dr. Lopasata. Well known to most of us, and I've been using Dr. Lopasata's fine services for the past decade or longer.
Yes.
I know that both these attorneys are familiar with her. She's not bringing anything new to the table. Her opinion, the rest of the indicia of the injury that she suffered. Now, they're talking about Lindsay going out, hanging off of a window, and then doing, like I said, the Spider-Man slide down the side of the house, apparently. Absolutely ridiculous. She dove out that window, she hit her head, and she suffered what Dr. Lopasata refers to as a Jefferson fracture of the spine that is very, very, very typical for this type of an injury. When somebody dives into the shallow end of a pool, they get that injury, unfortunately. When somebody, kids are on a boat and they're drunk and one of them jumps off a mast into the shallow end of the water.
Lopasata is going to crush these days.
Superman, when you get thrown off a horse 6 feet high, same injury. That's all. She's not bringing any esoteric theory to this case that they need time to prepare. Interestingly enough, the Brigham and Women's Hospital records do make reference to the Jefferson fracture right from jump. She also assists me, as she always does, on autopsy photographs, any indicia of injuries, and it's her opinion that if they try to say there are these little babies were inflicted by her, they're absolutely wrong. And Dr. Lopasata is consistent with the EMT, about those first responders, but they were his and picked them up and run them up to their trucks and vehicles. So, and other, obviously, the interosseous injection into the legs, the shins, the thighs, all of these bruises are from medical intervention, not Lindsay.
Yep.
That's what she would testify to. That's it. They don't need time to prepare to cross-examine for that. Finally, I have Dr. Conde. Dr. Conde signed even better than a report, signed an affidavit. And again, it's based upon medical records that we all have. Way back when this case first started, the government presented the case to the grand jury. First thing I said to Lindsay was sign a release. Let the government get all the medical records. We'll all have access to them. This case is obviously going to be predicated upon the medical records, psychiatric records. We signed every release. They got every and had into the grand jury. I get copies. They have copies. Conde would testify to the horrific, in his opinion, failure to comply with the standard of care that would govern psychiatrists, psychologists. Dr. Tufts was going to be testifying tomorrow. Nurse practitioner Gelada, the other individual from the McLean Hospital, all records that they've had for years. So they don't.
Those two people he just mentioned are two of the main people in Lindsay's civil suit against the medical practitioners who prescribed her all these drugs. Gelada is a big witness, and so is oh shit, he just said her name and I completely forgot it. Hold on.
Psychiatrists, psychologists, failure to comply with the standard of care that would govern psychiatrists, psychologists. Dr. Tufts, who's going to be testifying tomorrow, nurse practitioner Gelada, the other individual from the McLean Hospital.
I mean, those people, that's who's going to be testifying today. I haven't started watching it because I'm here with you guys. Gelada and Tufts are two of the biggest people in the civil suit against all the practitioners that Lindsay filed. That Scapiccio wrote and they filed on Lindsay's behalf. That's going to be interesting testimony tomorrow. They are probably going to be a little hostile, I would think, like more like Kelly McDonough, who testified the other day.
All records that they've had for years, so they don't need time to prepare for cross-examination. So weeks ago, counsel, after I gave them copies of all of these reports and affidavit, strike that, I'm sorry, the reports I just got, and I just sent them the affidavit from Condi they already have, I disclosed to them what my opinion would be of the opinions from these doctors that would be testifying, and the report carries that out. I suggest to the court that to strip Lindsay's ability to present evidence in support of her defense, number one, it would not be in the interest of justice. I'd like to hear a DA stand up and say, in the interest of justice in this case, because weeks ago we got this information and we're not prepared to testify, to cross-examine the testifying witnesses, I think even Your Honor would agree is a disingenuous argument. She came in and said to you, well, Rule 14 matters, and it applies to the government just as it applies to the defense, and therefore you should exclude these witnesses.
Now
So
I'm
if
itchy.
I messed up.
It's a
And
mosquito.
it's my trial schedule that caused me to not be able to have written reports of the stuff that they've had for years to prepare to cross-examine these witnesses, then it's my fault, and it deprives her of effective assistance of counsel, because that would then deprive her of her defense. This is a
Appeals.
an emergency room doctor and a doctor who would testify to the standards that would apply to these doctors that they're going to call as their witnesses, which is another interesting fillip, if you will, where they're calling Tufts, Gelada, the other individuals from McLean, all treating physicians of her that are all lined up to come in and testify against her on this case. Fine, bring it. But at least give me the ammunition to counter it.
Let me ask you this. Can I go
Wow.
backwards? In
Strong.
regards to Dr. Condi, the affidavit really speaks more towards the standard of care.
That's right. He's not giving an opinion of criminal responsibility.
Right, but I'm struggling to see how that comes in. Now, maybe
Well, he's the
Right.
doctor that I'm using for
Right.
toxicology.
that's what I feel. But the reason I'm asking that is I'm not sure in this case, is this the standard of care necessarily
What?
is relevant as opposed to causation? You
Judge.
know what I mean? That
Well, yeah, I
if,
think the standard of care does speak to causation. He
Why?
doesn't have to use it as standard of care. He can use it as his opinion as to the first doctor that she spoke to, Dr. Tufts, when she presents with a bipolar 1 presentation, and then Tufts prescribes an SSRI to her, which applies in the face of any rational
Oops.
psychiatrist and what they would prescribe and do. He's more than qualified to testify.
that's a different question. And that may be more admissible than someone saying, oh, I found what the standard of care, and I find that this violates it. If we have got an expert who says, listen, I am qualified, I looked at these records, I disagree with that treatment, I'd be more inclined to allow that than
Okay,
to
so-
get into the standard of care, which is obviously
He's like, all right, so I'll change it.
So
world.
with that, I can reach out to Dr. Condi and have him delete reference to standard of care in his report and address the actual treatment as to an opinion as to its appropriateness. But again, on the issue that they're raising, that they need time to prepare to cross-examine, I don't think that lies even if he revises his report by removing standard of care.
Well, let me ask you this, because I haven't had an opportunity. This is probably what I'm going to have to look at tonight. Is Dr. Condi adding anything to the expert disclosures that have already been made? 'Cause I know there's
Wait.
disclosures.
Hold on. He is asking if a defense witness is adding anything to these arguments and to the case. Excuse me, sir. We've had 747 witnesses that are first responders and medical practitioners saying the same thing over and over and over again in testimony. And you're asking if one defense expert witness is going to add anything to the case? Excuse me, sir. Are you kidding me right now with this question? Ugh.
The medical records, Tufts, Gelada, McLean Hospital, and just commenting on the care and the treatment that was presented to her as a patient looking for help. That's all he's doing. He's not adding anything. He's talking about the prescriptions that were provided to her. The
Who cares
SSRIs,
if he is or not?
Psychotics, the benzodiazepines, all of that. That's what his opinion is predicated upon, which is all of the prescriptions that the government has already introduced into evidence and is well aware of.
Right. I said, but I know that the parties have already exchanged reports months ago, and I know that everybody did that. And I haven't had a chance to review specifically the defendant's reports. And I don't, is there an
Right.
expert who's going to address these kind of issues already?
No, Dr. Condi was my toxicologist and my physician that would give an opinion as to the appropriateness of the treatment that she received, especially as it relates to the prescriptions. I mean, Dr. Lopasata is a pathologist. She has nothing to do with it. Dr. Zeisel is a psychologist. He has nothing to do with it. Dr. Resnick is a psychiatrist specializing in infanticide. He's not addressing that issue, and nor is Dr. Spinelli, who is a postpartum depression, postpartum psychosis expert. So Dr. Condi is my
Good
expert
experts.
for toxicology and care, level of care that she received.
All right.
Which guts the defense if their argument that they need time to cross-examine or prepare.
Guts the defense.
results in an exclusion.
Okay, come on.
Listen to this shit.
With regard to Dr. Condi, one of my points is going to be that his affidavit addresses the standard of care, which is more of the civil issue, but you've already addressed that with defense counsel's pivot that he would then instead testify about the treatment of the defendant in toxicology. Looking at the affidavit in which he outlines his qualifications, he's not a toxicologist. He's a physician licensed here in Massachusetts. He's done a residency in general psychiatry, child and adolescent psychiatry, and forensic psychiatry, but he's not a toxicologist. And also, it's not just us having all the same records.
These are semantics, in my opinion. He may not be a toxicologist, but he is a psychiatrist. Psychiatrists are the ones who prescribe medicine. So he can talk about the dangerous mix of medicine she was taking. It's not that deep. Sprague.
That makes for cross-examination to be fundamentally fair. There's more to cross-examination than just having the underlying data. It's also knowing more about the expert, being able to look into their publications and their prior testimony, and being able to prepare to rebut anything that they might testify to. And where we have this late disclosure, which was 1 week prior to trial starting, that's fundamentally unfair to the Commonwealth. And I think what Dr. Condi would be testifying to, if it's just limited to her treatment and what was prescribed to her, that's covered by the other 3 experts that defense already has. They all talk about her treatment.
Oh my
the
God.
prescription she was on and the effects those had on her.
Oh my God. Do not talk to us. Do not come to this podium with arguments about repetitive testimony, woman. Are you kidding me? We've been sitting here. This is day 8 of this trial. And all we've been doing is hearing from first responder, doctor, witness, everybody, one after another, say the same friggin' things, and saying the same friggin' things over and over and over again that are not helping your case. So don't talk to us about repetitive witnesses. Are you kidding me? The friggin' audacity of this woman.
So I think that would be redundant, and it would be unfair to the Commonwealth to add this 4th expert to talk about the same things that the other 3 experts are going to talk about when we haven't had a chance to prepare for this particular expert.
Get
For
prepared.
Dr. Lopasata,
You have an army of
what we
people.
have is a 2.5-page letter to Attorney Reddington outlining her thoughts, but it doesn't say what her opinion.
Excuse me, ma'am. Do not come for Dr. Lopasata. She is going to eat you for lunch when she is on the stand. She's going to eat you for lunch. Are you kidding me? You know Dr. Lopasata. I know you know her. Oh, okay. Hold the rage down a little bit, Mel.
Chance to prepare for this particular expert. For Dr. Lopasata, what we have is a 2.5-page letter to Attorney Reddington outlining her thoughts, but it doesn't say what her opinions are based on. It doesn't say which materials she's reviewed and what she's relying on. So I would suggest that it's an insufficient report. And again,
off.
with the delayed disclosure,
Sorry.
for example,
There
she
it is.
talks about Jefferson fracture causing the injury. So if we had this information previously and knew this is what they were going to argue, we could have obtained our own expert to talk about the mechanism of injury and Jefferson fractures and all of those things. But we weren't told until a week before trial that she would even potentially be a witness.
A week before trial was 3 weeks ago. A week before trial was 3 weeks ago. What the fuck have you been doing for the past 3 weeks besides parading a bunch of witnesses who are saying the same shit over and over and over again and saying that Lindsay was a great mom and that she was very sick? What have you been doing for 3 weeks if you just decided not to go out and find a witness, an expert witness, to combat Lopasata? Good luck with that, by the way. And now we're here in the middle of trial and you're saying you don't have time to prepare? Ma'am, sit the fuck down.
And then we get this report on July 26th. That's a 2.5-page letter.
But didn't we have multiple
Thank you.
trauma surgeons,
Thank you,
neurosurgeons
Judge.
who testified? Who treated her?
Christ.
Couldn't someone just ask, is that consistent with, and that's pretty much what I'm looking at Dr. Lopasata's note. I'm not sure I would allow in opinions regarding whether or not it's a serious suicide or not, but she does indicate it's consistent with landing on somebody, on an individual's head.
Well, Your Honor, we had a trauma surgeon from the South Shore Hospital testify who said that the injuries that Ms. Clancy sustained were a level 1 and she had to be transported to another hospital where doctors who were trained in those injuries could operate on her. So we didn't think that she would have the knowledge and the training and experience to testify about the nature of those injuries and how they occur. The trauma surgeon from Brigham and Women's Hospital is with the military and is overseas in the Middle East and so was unavailable. But had we known that this was going to be an issue and they were going to allege this particular type of fracture,
you knew 3 weeks ago.
We would have endeavored to get another expert in replace of the doctor who treated her at Brigham and Women's, but we didn't know that this would even be an issue until a week before trial. And again,
3 weeks ago,
this letter is dated July 26, and it doesn't tell us which records, which reports, or which what medical journals or training or anything that these opinions are based on.
Well, that can be done by voir dire.
Thank you.
I mean, the Commonwealth has at least inferred through their case that this was not a serious suicide attempt.
They've said she.
Right?
They haven't said
no.
Okay, she said now. Just to clarify, the Commonwealth has never used the word faked, okay? But they have inferred, just like the judge is saying right here, that Lindsay faked her suicide attempt. And you hear the prosecutor go, "No, we're gonna listen to this. This is nutty, y'all. This is nutty.
A serious suicide attempt, right? I mean, and there's questions about whether or not somebody's hanging outside the window or not. And so why wasn't this an issue that the Commonwealth could have anticipated?
Thank you.
Come up
3 weeks
The position
ago.
of the Commonwealth isn't that it wasn't a serious suicide attempt. It's that the methods that were chosen were insufficient to achieve the goal. And the reasons for that, we would argue in our closing. I don't think we have to disclose that theory at this point, but we've never said it wasn't a serious suicide attempt.
Guys, did you just hear what she just said? We're in playback. Oh my God, the audacity.
A suicide attempt. It's that the methods that were chosen were insufficient to achieve the goal.
The methods that were chosen, we're not saying it's a fake suicide. We're saying the methods that were chosen were not sufficient to meet the goal of suicide. Ma'am, this is a friggin' Wendy's. Sit your ass down. You are making a fool of yourself.
And the reasons for that, we would argue in our closing. I don't think we have to disclose that theory at this point, but we've never said it wasn't a serious suicide attempt. We've never said it was a fake suicide attempt. What we've endeavored to develop from the testimony is that the methods that were chosen were methods that would be unsuccessful, but we're not saying it wasn't a serious attempt. And I think the reasons for that will become clearer when the doctors give their testimony. But it's our position that she was attempting to kill herself that night, and there are various reasons and factors where she was unsuccessful in killing herself, but successful in killing her children.
But there's been all kinds of testimony regarding, it seems to be a dispute of whether or not she's hanging from the windowsill or goes out head first. There's some testimony that's been raised, even with the blood experts, and things that she may have been hanging from the windowsill. Dr. Lopasata, it seems they're seeking news is those injuries are consistent with somebody who lands on their head.
So would the court allow us to call a witness who's not on our witness list to rebut that evidence?
Yeah, I would consider that.
Of course. Don't be a fucking idiot.
This is kind of what.
Let Reddington talk.
I didn't make a decision on this earlier. They had to kind of see how the case develops.
Right.
And this issue of how this injury occurs is certainly, it's either been specifically and explicitly raised or inferred in multiple questions.
Thank you.
Even to the length of the part, the cuts and things like that. It's been over and over and over. So if the Commonwealth seeks to get somebody to rebut that, I would strongly consider that. In regards to Dr. Lopasata's opinion, we may need a voir dire in regards to, but I wouldn't imagine the voir dire would take that long. It would be, did you view the x-rays? I mean, that kind of an injury is probably pretty clear on the x-rays or the MRIs.
If we could get a list from defense counsel on what she's basing her opinion on so we can have our witness review the same material.
Give me a fucking break. Give me a friggin' break. You've already put witnesses on the stand that have testified to the injury that she has in her spine. And it came from landing on her head. We all know this. Your experts have already said it. Your ER doctors and surgeons have already said it. Now we're going to have a defense expert witness, Dr. Lopasata, who is the expert on this kind of shit, say the same friggin' thing, that she landed on her head and she didn't try to fake this. Good God.
On what she's basing her opinion on so we can have our witness review the same material.
I'm just telling you right now, it's just simple. It's just the South Shore Hospital medical records, Brigham and Women's medical records that have
Thank
already
you.
been discussed with the jury.
Why don't we do this, just so it's clear, because when a witness is on the stand, it's much easier to have something in writing to say, is this what you relied on? So if you could get from Dr. Lopasata what she is relying
Great.
upon
Sure.
to form that opinion, I'm, like I said, I'm inclined to allow that.
You know what she
opinion.
relied
And
on?
I would allow
She
then the
relied
Commonwealth
on
to-
the medical records from the prosecution witnesses. She used their case to say, yeah, she fell on her head and she's now paralyzed. Why? Am I missing something? Is it me? Is it me? Am I missing something? D Cools said the judge not turning to the camera and staring like Jim from The Office shows greater willpower than me. It's facts. Total facts.
Present a rebuttal witness if they seek to.
And just note our objection to that, but also the third expert, what we have here is a letter dated August 4th. That's a page and a half. That's not even signed.
Oh, come
by,
on.
I believe it's Dr. Volkovich.
I'm more concerned with that is whether or not the opinion is admissible.
It's not even
As I see
signed.
it,
That's her
this is reviewed,
argument.
The medical records, and it's his opinion. These are injuries that commonly observed in the quote serious suicide attempts.
We could delete serious.
Yeah, I mean, or even suicide attempts. That's an opinion.
Their doctors waxed eloquently about suicide and whether
Thank you.
I mean, they delete serious.
But I'm just concerned that how are we going to kind of parse out what he looked?
Are we really parsing, arguing over the word serious or not? Everyone here besides Reddington is grasping at straws, including the judge. I think he's leaning toward allowing all these witnesses in. This is terrifying, y'all. If you live in this county, if you live in this Commonwealth, you should be terrified that this is what the prosecutors are doing in this case.
Yeah, 100 other cases, and then we go through into all of those. So I'm going to have to take a look. That's what I'm going to take under advisement for sure. That doesn't mean he may have other opinions that we have to look at. I think he talked about some of his observations as an emergency room doctor, I think, didn't he? Yeah, I'm more reluctant to allow in that individual's opinion that this was a suicide.
You've let all these other witnesses in. This
Yes,
is
I'm sure
stupid.
doctors are able to talk about superficial, as we've heard for a week now. But
Yeah, thank
his
you.
opinion that it's consistent with what he's observed in his emergency room treatment is not admissible.
No, that's not what I'm saying.
Oh, I'm
What I'm
sorry.
saying is that he can't necessarily give the opinion. I've looked at this. It's my opinion. This was a suicide attempt. But he could certainly testify. I've looked at the cuts. These are, the phrase superficial. I think that's been kind of mixed up in this whole thing too. That seems to be more of a medical term as opposed to.
There it
Yeah,
is.
They basically beat it to death.
Say it in
Not
front of the
beat it
jury,
to death, they were able to
Judge.
Show that in fact it was deep, 3.5 and 2. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to call this doctor, he's going to say that's a significant cut.
Okay.
That's different than saying, looking at that, I find that this is a suicide attempt. Just like there's never been an opinion here that this was not a suicide attempt. That's probably something that the jury
now, but it wasn't a week ago.
Well, that's going to probably be for the jury to determine. But I would allow kind of going into the characteristics that have already been testified to. And I don't. We need a further voir dire on that doctor as well. But I think he listened there, kind of what he reviewed. But yeah. All right. Anything else in regards to those three witnesses? All right.
Nope.
So I'm going to take this under advisement, but just kind of for what I'm inclined to do is I'm going to take a look at Dr. Condi's report and compare it to some of the other reports. I'm inclined to let Dr. Lopasata testify that that the injuries are consistent with basically a fall on the head.
Yep.
And the last doctor, we're going to take a look at kind of his language, but I would not be allowing in that his opinion that this is a suicide attempt. But he may testify as to all the other observations that he took from those records.
Understood. Just no objection for what it's worth.
All right. And so I'll note Commonwealth's objection. I'll note the defendant's objection. And so, and like I said, I'll take it under advisement and everybody can renew those objections
As it
again.
relates to Condi, once you make your decision, you let me know. I can certainly reach out to him and have him delete this standard as to standard of care.
Serious. Delete the word serious.
All right. So I'll take a look at this. I'll have this tomorrow morning for everybody when you come in. All right.
Thank you.
So anything else we need to address?
No. Oh my God. I can't. Okay, let's just take this off the screen. I can't look at it anymore. Okay. We'll never get that time back non-conversational. Word. I wanted to put this on the screen because it's important. Despite the look on my face, says yesterday this judge had a previous ruling overturned. That is true. The SJC said trial, also involving postpartum, was unfair because he misused his discretion by not allowing in evidence. I guarantee you that if Lindsay Clancy is found guilty, that there will be an appeal, and that appeal will include testimony that you guys didn't see yesterday, but that I mentioned to you. And that was the 3-second or so, the quickest video I've ever seen that the nanny sent to Lindsay, that there was no need for it to be in front of the jury, and yet the judge allowed it. And it was a 3-second video of the youngest child drinking a bottle. Had nothing to do with anything, was completely out of context. Jury didn't need to see it. It was prejudicial, in my opinion, not probative. And I think that will be one piece of a very strong appeal if she is convicted. Hopefully, Lady Harlot, that the judge has learned from that overturning, but who knows? God, this was so frustrating. But one thing is for sure, I'll say 99% sure, Dr. Lopasata is going to testify as a defense expert. I am looking forward to her testimony. I'm also looking forward to Dr. Zeisel's testimony. He was one of the first experts. Well, Kevin Reddington got him into Lindsay's hotel room to evaluate her. And Zeisel is very well known. He's been around for a long time. He's a very good doctor, and I cannot wait to hear his testimony. It seems to me, since we're having this conversation about expert witnesses for the defense, that the case in chief for the prosecution is probably wrapping up, hopefully here soon, because it's gone on long enough and it's been so repetitive, it makes me want to stab myself in the eyes. So, Mel, can you interview Dr. Lopasata on this channel? God, I would love to. Maybe I'll reach out to her. Maybe I'll see. She would be amazing. She would be a great interview. I'd also like to, I noticed earlier in the stream that someone mentioned, I think the question was hostile, like Kelly Dever hostile. I don't know what to expect of these doctors tomorrow who are going to testify. These are the doctors that prescribed some of the most egregious prescriptions to Lindsay, which is Dr. Tufts and nurse practitioner, I believe, Gelada. They are two of the main people in the civil suit for medical malpractice that Lindsay Clancy has filed through Rosemary Scapiccio against these doctors, and they're testifying tomorrow, or today, I should say. I assume they're going to be hostile. I don't know if they'll be as hostile as Kelly McDonough or Kelly Dever. Kelly Dever, my DMs are open. Come talk to me. I have lots of questions. But we'll see. I think it's going to be interesting. I'm going to jump out of here and go watch that. I have 45 minutes before Jimmy is on with me. So come back here in, 42 minutes for me and Jimmy, although it'll probably just be me for the first half an hour or 45 minutes because I'm assuming he's going to be late because he usually is. I did send him a text and I reminded him. If you are not able to come back at noon, please tune into Emily C's channel tomorrow starting at 2 p.m. for the Adam Deitch fundraiser. Jimmy and I will be back on that show at 7:45 p.m.-ish. I appreciate y'all so much. Thanks for being here. Thanks for handling this with me and for being respectful of everybody in the chat and our ability to stomach this trial. I love y'all so much. And again, I just really appreciate you. Thanks for the super chats. Thanks for the memberships. Thanks for the tips. If you feel so inclined, please tip your server. The Venmo, Cash App, and PayPal at the top of the screen. Also a QR code, and it is pinned in the chat. Stay safe, everybody. Take care of yourselves. Take care of your mental health. Take naps. Go outside and touch some grass. Come back in 40 minutes for me and Jimmy, and I will see you over there. Okay. Bye. Good. Good morning, everybody. I am Mel Barrett.
I'm Rebecca Lavoie, allegedly. I'm smart.
Happy Monday, everybody. I am Mel Barrett.
I'm Rebecca Lavoie. Happy gay summer, Mel.
Happy hump day, everybody. I am Mel Barrett.
I'm not humping anybody. I'm Rebecca Lavoie.
Happy Saturday, everybody. I am Mel Barrett.
Oh, no.
I'm Rebecca Lavoie, and my mic is muted.
Good morning, everybody. I am Mel Barrett.
I'm Rebecca Lavoie, and that's Briscoe.
And welcome to Something's Off, a true crime podcast where we swat the haters aside with our astute takes and humor and joy. And
The joylessness
I don't
of
give a
those
fucking
people.
miss. Blah.
Hags.
You hear it first in the break in the story. One little crack and the whole thing gets wary. A witness swears, but the timeline bends. A smile too smooth and the trail just ends. Mel Barrett says, hold up, look again. Rebecca Lavoie follows every thread. If it feels too neat, then it's not the truth. There's a shadow line running through the room. Something's off, something's off. You can feel it in the bones. Something's off, something's off. When the facts won't come home. Something's off, something's off. And the case won't stay in place. Something's off. We're the ones who chase.
This is
Pull it,
literally
Jimmy.
because it's 100. It's been happening for the past day.
Oh, dear God. Everywhere's a hotspot when Dr. Wolf is on the TV. Am I right? Everywhere's a hotspot when Dr. Wolf is on the TV. I'm sorry. This is very funny.
What are you laughing about?
Because you're just sitting there waiting for the video to start.
I was listening this whole time. You
Listening to what? You're not playing anything, and now you're frozen. God, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Let me text Mel. Let me call Mel. I'm going to call Mel.
No, I'm not answering your call. I'm not doing it.
I don't think.
Why is it? Oh, Jesus.
Maybe go back on the Wi-Fi.
I am back on the Wi-Fi. Can you hear me now? Should we do the show now? Should we do the show now? Rebecca? Rebecca, can you hear me? Can you hear me now?
Internet. Hello.
Hello? Hello, worldwide interwebs. Can you hear me? Let's do this. I have to look at my phone over here.
We're going to go members only.
Something's off. We're the ones who chase. Yeah, we're the ones who chase. Wait, did that witness just blink 3 times? Something's off.